Okay, so we're looking at probability. Yesterday we spoke about the independent events. You guys remember? What is the identity for independent events? The probability of A and B is equal to the probability of A times B. So we say the probability of A and B is equal to the probability of A times the probability of B. Not so? So whenever they say independent events, that comes into play. Okay? And independent events means to say that the one event is not dependent on the other. Okay? So that is your formula or your identity for independent events. Okay? Let's look at the second. Okay, so there they give you more explanation what's happening there. We're looking at example 2. And example 2 is on page. Example 2 on page 200 and? Page 408. Okay. Okay, so a coin is tossed. Two coins are tossed together. Okay? Determine the probability that each of the in each of the following cases. Throwing two heads. Throwing two heads. So, if you're looking at my outcomes, it could be heads, then heads, tails, tails, heads, and tails. Not so? Tails twice. Tails, heads. Okay. So, throwing two heads, what's the probability there? 1 out of? The probability of getting two heads? 1 out of 4. You all agree with that? B. Throwing a heads and a tails. In any order. So the probability of heads and tails over tails and heads, what would it be? 2 out of 4, which is C. Throwing at least one head. At least one head. So it can be heads, tails, heads. Not so. So the probability at least one head will be 3 out of. You all understand? Let's look at D. D says throwing no heads. No heads. 1 out of 4. So that's going to give you, because it can only be tails. And E, it says what is the sum of C and D? The sum of C and D. So the probability in C, which is at least one head, at least one is at least once. The probability of no heads. Okay? So that's going to give you 3 out of 4 plus 1 out of 4, which is 1. So what do you notice here? That they add up to 1. This is what we call complementary events. Not so? They're complementary, they add up to 1. 100%. Okay? You got a question? Your hand was up, please? No. Okay. So any confusion here? Any confusion here, people? No? Let's look at example 3. Example 3 is on page 401. 409. Example 3. Page 409. So here we are told if 3 coins are thrown, what's the probability of throwing 3 heads? Okay? So if you look at my outcomes here, what are the outcomes here? Heads, then heads, tails, then heads, tails, then heads, tails, Then tails, heads, heads. Tails, heads, tails. Tails, tails, heads. Tails, tails, tails. Is that correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 outcomes. Okay. So in A, the question is, what's the probability of throwing 3 heads? So your probability is your number of favorable outcomes, which is 3 heads, over the number of possible outcomes. How many outcomes is there that you can possibly get? 8. So the probability of getting 3 heads is going to be 1 out of 8. B. Throwing a heads and 2 tails in any order. Heads and 2 tails. Can I consider the first one? No. Second one? No. Third one? No. Fourth one? Yes. Fifth one? No. Fifth one? Yes. Sixth one? Yes. So they're looking for 2 tails and 1 head. Not so. So 2 tails and 1 head will be 3 out of 8. C. Throwing at least 2 heads. At least 2 heads. So, will I consider the first one? Yes. Why? Because it can be 3. Here it said throwing a heads and 2 tails. Can you see that? It says a heads and 2 tails. Here it says at least, so it can be more. Not so? So it can be the second one? Yes. The third one? Yes. The fourth one? No. Fifth one? Yes. So that is going to be 4 out of 8, which is? Right, you guys understand? I could have represented this as a tree diagram as well. Let's go to example 2 again. If you're looking at tossing the coin twice, so I could have represented it as a tree diagram. There are 2 outcomes. It can either be heads or tails. What's the probability of you tossing your heads on the first outcome? 1 out of 2. And tails? 1 out of 2. So since it's 2 events, it can either be heads and tails again. Heads and tails. So it's half and half. Half and half. Okay, you guys understand? If I done it with example 3, the tree diagram will look like this. It's either heads or tails on the first toss, on the first coin. Then heads or tails, heads or tails. Again it's half, 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 half. Okay? So that's in your second event. And the third event can either be heads or tails, heads or tails, heads or tails, heads or tails. It's half, half, half. And then from here you could list it again. Okay, your outcome. Okay, you guys understand? With this you should be able to do exercise. .4. We will enjoy the rest of the day. Good morning, class.